Well, hello again, and welcome back to this special edition series, really, of your weekly dose of higher consciousness, where I'm diving deeper into the emotion code, and we're going to cover the body code later in the week in another video. And this is going to be our third in a 4-part series of just the emotion code. And instead of doing the demonstration right now, we want to cover another topic because it's going to come up in the demonstration. And we want to make sure you understand what it is that we're talking about. So what's super fascinating about the emotion code is that we inherit emotions from our ancestors that can go back tens, 20, 50, hundreds of years. Right, Linda?
Yes.
And maybe it's because the intention I've set for myself to kind of raise the level of consciousness of the planet, I go back hundreds of generations in some of these things. So we want to talk about the fact that we inherit trapped emotions. And Linda, why don't you tell us what you've discovered in your training about this aspect of the emotion code and the body code for that matter, but primarily this is for both emotion code and body code, but let's just talk about what this means.
Right. So just like you can inherit traits from your parents, right? Your eyes, different things about your body. You can inherit their emotional baggage. Okay. It's like
Which is not an invitation. It's not an invitation to blame your parents for anything, because you're going to find out even more that there's no reason you'd like, okay, go ahead. I'll tell you why. Go ahead.
Well, you can't even just blame your parents, because how many generations before that did this thing originate in? Now, I'll say for Liz, Liz is one of the exceptions that goes back sometimes 170, 180 generations, right?
Yeah.
Had other people as well, but not everybody will get that. So don't expect it's going to be that. It might just be, sometimes it's like 2, 3, 10, 50, it could be anything. But I think I would assume that maybe some people who listen to your podcast might know that you've had quite an experience of awakening in this lifetime and are open to so much energetically, that I think Liz is maybe one of those advanced spiritual beings who's been around a very long time and has a lineage that is like incredible. So I just want to preface that because I want people to see this, especially when we do a demonstration with you. And if we get that many years on something inherited that comes up, it could be anything, and it doesn't really matter. We're just going to clear for everyone.
And it doesn't really mean anything about me or anything, except to the extent that I understand that there's a greater part of me that has significant power. I'm aware of that. We all do, but I'm just aware of it.
Yeah. And also part of your purpose is to clear for the planet, right? I mean, any healer, anyone in this world that's in the energy world that we're in wants to heal the planet. So when the thing about the inherited trapped emotions is, when we clear an inherited trapped emotion from a person, you clear it for the entire lineage of that. All those generations, whether it's 3 or 100, and all of the offshoots and all of the children for all of the people are getting cleared at the same time.
Same with people coming forward, the future.
Yeah.
Right.
You stop it. You stop it where you're at. So like when I clear for myself, if I have kids, I have a son, I clear for him. He's cleared. Now he's not going to pass it on to his children.
Right. That's huge.
That's huge.
And I even look at it like, I came into this life. I may come back here again, but I'm not going to bring it back.
Yeah.
Coming back at a much higher level. All of us.
That's nice.
You don't have this stuff. And what was it, Linda, that they said generation is like how many years?
23.
So let's say, as an example, I had a few where there's at least 100 generations. We're talking going back before Christ, which is kind of funny. I'm like, woohoo. And just imagine that pond ripple, right? You drop the pebble in the pond, look at it like you're clearing this emotion for generations. It's huge.
Yeah.
Really huge.
That's why I get excited. Liz, we get excited when we hit these inherited ones, because we know how much it's clearing for more than just the person that's being worked on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to share the first time first of all, the first woman I worked with, and I don't know if you got to share what you feel, Linda, when we address inherited stuff. The first woman I worked with said she senses the presence of the ancestors. I'm not sure that she saw it clairvoyantly, but some people do, right, Linda? They can see the spirits of ancestors come into the room. People feel it. What do you feel when we do that?
Well, I'll just share that Dr. Bradley in his, when he does these seminars for people, there'll be people in the audience will come up afterwards and say, when you did that inherited trapped emotion, I saw everyone, because they were actually able to see. I sense, I don't see, I feel it, right? And I've definitely felt the energy of the ancestors in the room, not all the time, but especially when it's my own things that I'm clearing. Yeah, my family's there. I mean, sometimes it's so overwhelming that, I'm crying, because it's just the joy that you feel from the energy of all of those who are now just in that joyful energy of spirit. It can be overwhelming. So yeah, I know for a fact, as far as I'm concerned, that those beings are with you, because I have sensed them myself. Yeah.
And I got to say, the first time we detected an inherited one with the other woman, it had to do with I think, like anger coming from my dad's side back many generations. And I've had issues with my dad. Well, he's definitely a button pusher for me. But when I realized that his anger, which is evident, is not just him, it's hundreds of generations, you feel compassion and understanding and acceptance. I did anyway, of my dad. Huge crying, like, oh my God, it was like a huge relief to be a part of that. Like, oh my God, if we can do this for that, like really make that type of energetic ripple effect in the world, you're like, oh my God, it's my honor to do this. And I'm going to cry again, but
yeah,
that's what it felt like, an honor and an acceptance. Like your parents would have no clue, same as me or anyone else, that this exists at all. Like, why would we care? Why would we bring trapped emotions? It sounds insane, but apparently it's not.
So, I'll give you an example, because I love how this stuff proves itself to me all the time.
Yeah.
I remember I was working on my son, and he had an inherited trapped emotion of depression on my side, and it ran through, I don't remember how many generations it was. So cleared this thing for him. And then I also teach karate. So I was at my karate school later in the afternoon teaching classes, and all of a sudden I just felt this amazing energy just lifted away. And I was like, I felt so free. I felt different. You felt like bigger, and just the energy was, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? For a second, I couldn't even remember that I had done that earlier with my son. Now I'm in this other mode and I'm teaching karate. And then it hit me. I'm like, oh my God, of course, I cleared depression from my side of the family that I had given on to my son. We cleared that, and I felt the release of that. And I know, not only just for my own benefit, but I know it was for me to really truly get it, that work is actually really happening. I didn't expect to feel anything after clearing it from him, but I did. And I've had things like that happen a number of times.
Well, I'd love for you to share the story about your working on your son now, after you've done some inherited stuff.
Yeah, well, I was working on financial stuff, money or building. I don't know, remember exactly what it was, but it was that kind of thing that had to do with finances, or with money, had to do with money, right? Big hot topic for everybody.
Totally.
And, I cleared a lot of inherited stuff for myself on that, right? But now my son wanted to do the same thing. So it was the next day or 2 days later, I don't remember exactly. I'm doing this whole session for him with money, and he had a bunch of inherited stuff come up, but nothing from my side. It was all from his dad. Not that only his dad gave it to him. I cleared it for him 2 days before. So he didn't have anything coming up from me. So again, I was like, all right, thank you. Thank you. God for
Right.
showing me that this actually really works, because why didn't he get anything from his mom? Because I already cleared it.
Right.
I knew he got it because I'm taking notes on myself and like, did I pass this on to my son? And I would get yes on many of them. So
Right.
he should have had them, but they didn't show up. They didn't show up because they were cleared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I find that, so like when you really think, this is quantum in nature when you think about it, to clear this type of trapped emotion that you're bringing, that's been just keeps going throughout, like,
Yeah.
was it Jesus that said the sins of the father gets passed on to the son? Right? I think it was somewhere in the Bible, it says something like that, which is like a misstatement of it. It's like, it's really these trapped emotions keep getting passed along. It's not a sin. We wouldn't know any better. It's just you're just being who you are and experiencing life, and stuff gets stuck because you're friggin' like horrified by something or told not to cry or be angry, whatever the case may
You know
be.
what?
So
I have to add this because it just popped in.
yeah, go
But
ahead.
we didn't speak about before when we were first talking about emotion code that there's 6 different types of emotions. Okay. So you
Oh,
can have common emotion, which is just something that some experience happened in your life and you trap this emotion and now you're going to clear it, right? That's common. You can have
okay.
absorbed emotion because you've absorbed it from someone else. It wasn't yours to begin with, but you absorbed it, and you maybe absorbed it out of, you were so empathic that you pulled it in for that person, or you just happened to be at a vibrational match to the thing that they were feeling. It might not be the exactly thing, but it's the same vibration. So then you absorb this trapped emotion.
Yeah.
There's shared trapped emotions. So shared is kind of like inherited, right? Because we know inherited, we're talking about it. It's many people. So shared is when something happens, you didn't inherit it, happened in this lifetime, an experience that everybody went through the same thing at the same time. So you can think of like 9/11. You can imagine how many trapped emotions there are going on at that time, many different types, and all at the same time with so many people. So I'll tell you this, I had one show up for me recently. And this is always my example, 9/11. Well, here we are, I'm working on this person, a trapped emotion, a shared emotion comes in. Turns out that shared emotion was from 9/11. We had to track it down. So I found out, we got the age, the year, what was going on, 9/11. Boom. I think the trapped emotion was shock, right? So I don't know how many people we cleared for on that, but the energy was intense and that lifted.
Yeah, I
That's
think you told
shared.
me about that.
Yeah, that I'm so, and again, I feel like I keep getting taught lessons, so I know this is real. I felt the relief of that. That actually came up as a shared emotion, but it could be something, a couple of times I had shared emotions and they came up from one girl I was working with. She had a near-death experience at the hospital. So there was a shared emotion of shock, but it didn't originate with her. It originated with the doctors and nurses working on her that didn't expect what happened to happen. It was their shared shocked emotion that happened at the same time for what was going on with her. Everybody at the same time. So
Right.
it could be it could be shared between two people, two people. You didn't
Right.
absorb it, but you shared the same thing at the same time. Maybe we were
Yeah.
both a victim of something, or who knows what it
Right.
was.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So that's shared. That was shared. So we did common, shared, absorbed. Okay. Inherited. That's 4. There's 2 more. Prenatal. You can pick up trapped emotions while you're in the womb. Now, most of the time, it's like the 3rd trimester. You can pick it up from your mom or just something going on around you. I had one come up for someone the other day, and it wasn't from the parents, but it was from some situation that was going on. And the awareness of this person in that 3rd trimester took on that energy while they were in prenatal. So that's
Okay.
usually it's from the mom, right?
Right.
Most of the times it's something the mom was going through.
Yeah.
And again, sometimes you have to decode them, sometimes you don't. Maybe you just know that it's there and you're clearing it. But then there's also preconception. Before you're even born, before you're even conceived, you could be bringing in a trapped emotion from another timeline, another time and space. So you're carrying that with you. It's not inherited. It was yours. It was a regular emotion, but you brought it with you into this lifetime.
Is
Yeah.
that like from another lifetime or just the dimension you were in before you came into life?
For me, I feel it could be that. It
Okay.
could be that, but it could also be from another lifetime. For me, I feel like a lot of them are from another time. That's why I say another timeline, another time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Either another life, another timeline, whatever that might be. We don't
So
dissect that. We don't even need to ask. You don't really have to know anything, because you really, with inherited trapped emotions and these preconception ones, you don't know. There's no
right.
way to know.
No.
So we just locate them, and there's usually never anything to decode on it and never anything associated with it. And so we just are able to clear it. And when we get into the clearing, we'll see the difference of how to clear for inherited and shared trapped emotions as opposed to the other 4 types.
Right. I'm so glad that came to you, because that's a good, I forgot about that. And there's so many aspects to this, which you as a participant don't need to know if you hire someone to help you. It's very kind of matter of fact, the process. You don't get, once you realize there's no way on God's green earth you'd ever unravel this without testing. Like, I mean, you could be intuitive about some of it, but some of it you're like, oh my God, I would have never come up with that one, especially inherited.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity when you go through this and you realize there is so much going on within you, you have no clue, that you can come into an acceptance like, okay, this is what I came in here with. I can stop disparaging myself and others for it. We don't know any better. They don't know any better. None of us knows any better until we come into the awareness of it, which we're doing now. So just understand that. And coming into acceptance is a huge leap in consciousness energetically. Like, I'm like, yes, sign me up, right?
Right.
Acceptance. Anytime you're struggling or in resistance, you're like, the minute you bring that acceptance energy, you just shifted the field, right? The field is totally different. It's easier. Any more points you'd like to add to the whole inherited thing, since we're on the inherited thing?
No, I think we're
And
good on that.
We're good. Okay. So we wanted to do we said we were going to do a demo on the emotion code, but we're like, you know what, we got to talk about this inherited stuff so that you guys know what we're doing in the next episode, which is a demonstration of the emotion code. And I misspoke. I thought we were going to do weight loss type of food issues with the emotion code. And I intended it to be for the body code, because we've done the emotion code, Linda and I, for me on this topic. We haven't done the body code, so that we tested that is what we're going to do. And the next one, the emotion code, I wanted to address an issue that's pretty near and dear to all our hearts, and that's financial abundance and how the emotion code can unravel what's really going on there. Right, Linda? That's good. Okay, so thank you for joining us in this part. And the 4th and final part of the emotion code is a demonstration of unraveling the blocked, trapped emotions, keeping you from receiving what you consciously intend. We'll see you then.
All
Thanks,
right.
Linda.
Sure.